Been a minute. Welcome to another episode of Trip After Dark Live, man. Your cousin is fresh back from the motherland. It's been what, good 3 weeks, something like that. It's been a hot little second, man. It's an honor and privilege to be back. It took me a little second to get my all of the things together. You feel me? I ain't had none of this shit set up. I was still packed to some degree, but I suppose it is time to get back to work. Um, Let me get my pieces and parts together over here, and then we gonna do what we need to do. I want to announce real quick to some of my cousins before I get to the rules. This is gonna be my last little J with y'all online, man. I'm not like quitting or no shit like that. It's just that YouTube starting to flag my videos because I be smoking in them. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have to do my thing before I get here. Cause yeah, you feel me? Cause if I'm gonna be putting them on YouTube for the free, I gotta make sure, I gotta make sure they could actually live up there without getting taken down or violating any rules or anything like that. So yeah, man, it's been great. You feel me? It has been great, but we probably gonna have to cut the reefer out till we get something figured out. You know what I'm saying? Might have to smoke with y'all, then start the YouTube video. Might have to, we'll have to figure something out. We just can't do it the way we was doing it. So for my smokers, if you here, you know what I'm saying, go ahead, get you one. I'm finna get me one, and we gonna go out properly. Go ahead, roll out this thing properly. While I'm rolling up though, let me roll through the rules. Rule number one differs on YouTube and Instagram just because the functionality of the platforms is a little bit different. And then the rest of the rules are the same for everybody. Rule number one for the Instagram family, use the question button. You feel me? That's pretty much how we function in there. Use the question button. Please and thank you. You feel me? I can't really over explain that one because it's the foundation of what we do here. Use the question button. If you have a question, use that button down there. It keeps everything in one place. Keep it nice and cataloged for your cousin. That way I can reference it. Everybody else in here can see what we talking about. And it keeps things orderly. YouTube. When it's y'all's turn to ask questions, I'll simply turn to y'all and say it's time to ask questions, and then I'll pin the questions that I'll select, and we'll run it that way. Rule number two for everybody, because these questions are publicly available, that's to say that everybody tuned in, at least live anyway, can see the questions. We also would like to understand what it is that you asking, since we in here with you. So if you could proofread before you hit that send button, that would be amazing, fam. Yeah. If you could just review it, maybe read it aloud over on your side before you hit send. That way you could just make sure it makes sense to more than just you. It making sense to you is cool, I guess, but we also would like to know, seeing as how you asking the general public. So, just make sure the periods and exclamation points and question marks is in there like they need to be. Make sure everything is at least spelled phonetically, even if it's not spelled right. That way we could sound it out and maybe get on the same page with you. Yeah, that's rule number two for everybody. Rule number three. Rule number three for everybody. 2 to 3 sentences, family. You know what I'm saying? Two to three of them things. I know some of y'all be feeling like you need to explain everything on back to the first time y'all met each other back in 2002, but I don't actually need to know that. None of us actually need to know that. And if you feel like you got to go back that far to explain your situation, you probably need to go ahead, lay down on that couch and talk to them people. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? I encourage therapy in this space all the time because cousin Tripp is not a therapist. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a relationship coach, not a counselor. I'm not trying to be none of them things. Never had the desire to be any of them things. And some of y'all need one of those, not a nigga on the internet giving advice while he's smoking reefer. Hey man. Uh, so yeah, we gonna proceed with the proceedings after we get this last one off. And the last one is that this is all a safe space. Digital as it may be, is still a safe space. Now, what that meaning here is we don't do disrespect. We could disagree, we could debate, we could do all of that. We just not doing disrespect. So if you can't articulate where you stand without disrespecting where the next person stands, just know that this is not the space for you. And it'll probably be better for all of us if you would observe rather than participate. You feel me? Because your participation might fuck this up for the rest of us. Um, let's get it, man. Let's get it. Let's see if we got questions. The way we gonna do it, we kind of gonna bounce back and forth between the IG and the YouTube. We'll do like 2 questions here, 2 questions there, some type of situation like that, and then we gonna function. So let's see what we got going on with the good folks on Instagram. All right. Yeah, I figured y'all were going to immediately ask me about my trip to Ghana. And I feel like people like read what I said, but didn't really read what I said. They took from the status what they wanted to. And essentially, what the status said is that I had a world to process, but two things were immediately clear. Thing one is that when it comes to mass resistance, that African women are the center. And that thing two, they lied about everything. Now, no offense to the good people. I understand reading comprehension escapes a lot of us. It's, especially if you went to public school. But the first thing I said was that I have an entire world to process. Now, if you've been to Africa, West Africa specifically, if you are a descendant of chattel slavery, then you understand what I'm talking about. You understand what I mean when I say you have an entire world to process, because what you experience there is so unlike what you experience here, except it's so familiar at the same time. Like it's foreign, but it's home. It is a very odd thing to describe and a very odd thing to experience. You feel me? So that is thing one. That is the first thing, is that I have an entire world to process, and you have to understand that if you go, you will have an entire world to process as well. That if you take the trip not as a tourist but as a learner, as someone returning home, that it's not something that you can simply go to and spout off uh uh for everyone else. The next thing that I said was that when it came to mass resistance, when it came to uh, revolution, right? That black women was the center, that the African woman was the center and always was. And I think people keep overlooking that part to do the okay. Well, what were we lied to about, my nigga? See number one, see number one. Like if you would like to know one of the main things that we were lied to about, see number one. African women were the center of mass resistance, were the beginning of mass resistance for us who were captured and sent abroad to be slaves. Don't overlook what I'm actually saying to find something that's not being said. Start with what I said. Your framework for what it means to resist. If it does not start with African women being that resistance, that initial line of resistance of organization, then it is incorrect. So that's, you know what I'm saying? Like, I could get into all of the other things. I could absolutely get into some other things. I will probably be talking around in circles because I'm saying I'm still processing that. But again, understand that. Now, allow me to give examples, to not just be talking. Because the Eurocentric system overlooks women, deems them incapable inherently. The African woman was duly overlooked, which allowed for the first escape routes, the first escape plans to be braided into the hair of black women and black children. You feel me? So when I say the beginning, this is our first form. Cousin Kenny, you late. This the last official one. I'm going out properly with the people. So that is the first major form of resistance. Before we get over here, before we get on the boat, while we're still there, while we're still actually being captured, while we still before actual chattel slavery, the first form of organized resistance that we have is escape patterns, is seeds and different plants being braided into black women's hair, being woven into clothing and rags to signify what you would see as far as plants and seeds on the path to run away, on the path to freedom, fam. It's not to say that black men did not participate in resistance, but most of our resistance was physical. It was actually fighting back or rendering ourselves useless through mass suicide. So your framework on who fights, who resists, who organizes, who's in charge. There's your first thing. Now, when I say we were lied to about everything, let me pin an actual question. My fault. When I say we were lied to about everything, what I'm saying is this: I could give you a book um, of words and misinform you of the definitions of those words, and regardless of how well you read it, you'll always be wrong because I taught you how to read the book incorrectly. We have been given an incorrect perspective, and so we view things wrong. And if you view things incorrectly, then it doesn't matter if you're looking at the right thing, your interpretation of that thing will still be incorrect. This is what I mean. I mean, you don't understand that we were given, even if you know, you don't quite understand how off that perspective is until you get back. And I encourage everybody to go back before you go to Rome, before you go to Greece, or before you go do any of that, bro. Go ahead, go back home, bro. Go ahead, go back home. You need that. You feel me? You need that. It is a genuine. It's a genuine shift that you don't know you need until you there. And I'm talking about, bro. When I tell you, I y'all know I be on my woke shit. Y'all know I be reading. Y'all know I was pushing some form of Pan Africanism before this. Nah, bro. Nah, you have to go. You actually have to go. The biggest lesson I took away though, everything we are here, everything we became, everything we've achieved, we already was that. We was already that over there. It's not to say that we haven't accomplished here in America. It's not to say that African folks in America haven't become something unique and something special in our own right. It's to say that everything we've become is just a version of what we already were. Every politician we became, we already were politicians over there. Every doctor and engineer we became, we already were medicine men. We already were architects. We already were engineers. We already were those things, bro. You can see that over there. You feel me? So it's like, as much as we fight to be something separate from the motherland, it's like, fam, we really are children. We really are children. You feel me? And we growing up and we starting to smell ourselves and shit like that, feeling like we fly and we looking good and all that. When if we get to looking at older pictures of our parents, we'll see we look like them. We get the style from them. We looking at who they became after sacrificing everything they sacrificed to take care of us and make sure we situated. You feel me? So we don't understand that all these features we got come from there. So that's what I've learned. That the ingredients for who we became here, the ingredients for what Africa evolved into, and Haiti, the ingredients for what Africa evolved into in Brazil, the ingredients for what Africa evolved into in Canada and Mexico, them ingredients, man, they all came from the same place. All came from the same place. We cooked it up different because we had different supplies. You know what I'm saying? We cooked it up different because we was the people that learned how to work the land, and the land that we was working was different, right? Based on where we got dropped off. So the evolution was different. The culture ended up different because of that. So, I'm understanding that as much as we try to separate ourselves, like that's really just a child trying to establish independence from their parents. You know what I'm saying? It's not that we should seek to separate ourselves in totality. It's that we should acknowledge that we are able to stand on our own, but we absolutely should be in relationship, good standing with our parent. Cause I know this seems obvious, like what I'm about to say, but you need to understand like the totality of what it is that I'm saying, and the I guess the seriousness of what I'm saying. Ain't no such thing as black there, dog. And that's for us as Americans specifically, like because we don't really do that the way we do it in other places. Where I put my chapstick at. They don't really do race the way we do it in other places. So like you got to understand that what we identify as specifically does not exist there. There's no such thing as black. I can there's no place that I went, and we went a couple places. Like I wasn't in a crowd the whole time. We was in the hood. We went to the country side. We was on the beach. We was in the inner city. I went to East Lagoon. Like I'm in where the rich people at. There was no place where I could say I'm black and that actually have like a real meaning. I'm not saying they're so out of touch that they don't understand what I'm saying, but like contextually, there's no place that has a meaning. I'm American to them. I can say that, which would insinuate that I'm an African person in America. Like I contextually that makes sense over there. I can say I'm an African person in America, and that'll make perfect sense. But me saying I'm black, so again I say everything we are, everything we become. It's a version of everything we already were, bro. The way we set the church up is the way they set up the traditional council. You know what I'm saying? The way the way we shake hands, like bro, they dap over there. Like they got their own dap and all that, and it look like ours. The cool uncles, the aunties gossiping, going to dozens, hustle culture. I'm sorry, I'm saying like it's not so foreign of a jump that you feel out of place. The odd thing is how at home you feel. You feel me? It's odd how easy it is for you to match the pace. It's odd how the things that you have to identify in yourself that are kind of antithetical to how they do things, you realize that those are the ways that were forced on you, not the ways that are native to you. Right? That's the type of thing that I'm talking about. You gotta go. That's all. People always say that shit to me like, bro, it's parts of it that you wouldn't understand unless you. Nah, nigga, they weren't right. They weren't wrong, and they weren't being dramatic. It's parts of the shit that you cannot understand until you go. The only person I've even spoken to at length, like one on one, was another motherfucker who done been to Africa before, like to multiple countries. I could tell y'all, but you have to feel it. There is a feeling. There are multiple feelings. You feel me? Depending on your experience while you there, especially. But like you have to feel what I'm saying, and you have to be present enough to understand what you don't feel while you're there, also, because what you don't feel is just as important. But yeah, you gotta slide. If it's anybody in here who's been, they'll tell you. You feel me? They'll tell you. You don't quite get it until you slide. Take that ass on. Let me see. What else y'all talking about? Uh, you gotta be new as fuck. That's a old question. Um, let me see. Do you believe the diaspora wars are manufactured by intelligence agencies? Uh, I believe that African people in their respective areas get caught up in the agendas and ideologies of those who oppress them, and consequently end up against one another. You have to understand that even before we concern ourselves with the diaspora wars at mass, there are the diaspora wars that we have to fight at home, or at least address at home. Um, the African in America went to a literal war, North and South. Neither side, with his best interest at heart, genuinely. But indeed, the African in America went to war. That is the diaspora war in a very literal sense, um, due to the different countries' occupations and the resulting opinions that formed. Uh, be be they both neighbors and shit family, really. The Haitian and the Dominican, they can't stand each other. They're on the same island, only separated by a mountain. That is a diasporic war that is much more local. That the larger problem is a lot of local things that we have to solve. Imperialism on the continent caused strife between parties that did not have problems before. Um, and it is because they were caught up and moving in accordance with the interest of those who already were or would soon oppress them. I don't think intelligence communities started the diaspora wars. I think intelligence communities are intelligent, and so they stir the pot on what already existed due to their previous influences. And it works in their best interest to keep those things going. And so, do I believe bots aid in keeping those conversations going? Yes, but these are very old things that real fights occurred over, right? One of the things that they don't talk about during the world wars were the wars fought in Africa, right? One of the things that they don't talk about is the wars fought by African people. We don't get that part. You feel me? So these these issues that we have amongst ourselves are actually worth addressing in real life. They're not so small, so recent as to be dismissed as internet talk. We made fun of African kids for real, right? We argued that we were not that for real. Differentiated between us and the Muslim kids for real. Us and the East African kids for real. And to be able to do that so young, that comes from somewhere, that has to be investigated. Us as African people in America, we have to investigate what part of us does this come from. Likely that it's not the African part, it has to be the American part. So what is it about the American part that causes me to view any part of my own African experience or someone else's African experience and what other intersection it has? What causes me to view that in such a way that it becomes a problem, it becomes static, right? That's a real thing. That's not just the internet. Hell, what though online for the shit to happen in when we was on the bullshit in the 90s and the 80s and all that. So now we owe that a real investigation. We owe that some real combo. At least that's how I feel about it. I'm gonna check one more question from over on this side, then I'm gonna hop to the folks on YouTube. See what's going on. My God. Could you touch on the importance of young black men's mental health? Just lost a homie to suicide. Why do we as men hide behind our emotions? Just like take a moment to acknowledge your homie. Condolences and prayerfully he found peace in that. Um, I've been speaking for a minute about the numbers rising amongst young black men specifically, and I don't know if it. I don't know if it's real to the community yet. I still think we kind of stuck working through the stigma of that being something that black people don't do, something that black men don't do, and yeah, nah, it's happening. I'm not saying that to be callous about this young man taking his life. Is to say that good people, we have to understand that this is happening. That uh, hopelessness is feelings of detachment. Um, these things are starting to increase amongst our young black men, and it's not to say that you bear the responsibility or even can stop a person, from attempting or completing, that act. Is to say that we have to be better about being community, being village, and creating a version of manhood that doesn't call for men to perform so much, that allows men, young men, that allows boys to really experience the whole of their humanity emotionally and mentally without being seen as less than or made out to be less than, right? Um, One of the things I also speak on often is that the version of manhood that we practice here in America is based on white men and it's for white men. And that has to be acknowledged because we'll never actually be enough to complete that version of manhood. You feel me? They're gonna find a way to move the goalpost an extra 2 yards soon as we complete whatever it is they say we supposed to complete to call ourselves men. And we gotta acknowledge that, you feel me? Because a part of what it mean to be a man here also is like no excuses, complete it regardless. And my nigga, I get you subscribing to that. Like I get as a man why you're standing on that because everything we taught is saying that. And so you feel validated standing on that, especially if you a nigga that's accomplishing. But as it becomes harder for the average American man, and by that I mean white man, as it becomes harder for the average white man to make a living, you have to understand what that means for black men. And so the pressure now is actually in a way that most black men who are living haven't actually felt, especially for our younger men. And so when the traditional paths of success are starting to collapse in front of these young men, they're starting to feel that there's nowhere that they could turn because we still measuring based off the same thing. And again, this is for white men. Most of us didn't even really make it through. We still struggling. We just don't admit it. For them, it's even less options. You feel me? So we we have to create some version of manhood that is first of all not based on America's model because that model is not considerate of the black part. Just like the version of womanhood is not considered the black part. As a matter of fact, it's built on top of it. You feel me? It being considerate of it is only in that it is subordinate to whiteness. This is not an excuse. This is a reality. And to not operate in that reality is just not rational. So part of the mental health crisis, in my opinion, and I'm not a professional, I have to say this, but part of, to me, the mental health crisis begins in attempting to align with an identity that is built on your subjugation. You have to understand that one can only remain mentally stable for so long attempting to align with the ideology of or align with an ideology that requires their own subjugation to attempt to become the version of manhood that uses my identity, the whole of my identity, as an anchor for what not to be. That that's crazy. Listen to me now. That's crazy. To attempt to be like my nigga. To attempt to be a version of manhood that anchors on the idea that black men are lazy, that black men are dangerous, that black men are incompetent. To attempt to align with a version of manhood that is anchored in that idea, and white manhood, American manhood is anchored in that idea, fam. That is, you can only remain sane for so long, fam. And that's why we have to acknowledge that. I'm saying, my G, you could only remain sane for so long. And then when it's starting to become more difficult for them to complete that shit, when it's starting to become more difficult for the average white man, because that is what America's status, how well America is doing is based on how well the average white man could do in America. And when the average white man hurting, you got to understand what that means for black men. So we got to come up with a different version. We got to come up with a version of manhood that allow black men to be hurt cuz we hurt. Not uh version of manhood where we not seen as weak. No. Conversely, we have to come up with a version of manhood where we allowed to be weak and still not less man. See, that's a part of the problem. Is we want, much as we think we doing ourselves a service, we want a version of manhood where we allowed to goddamn it, not be seen as weak and still have feelings. And no, nigga, we hurt, critically injured, actually. I think we might be weak even, and that's okay. That's usually what happens when you get injured. You weak. When you hurt some shit, it's usually weak than a motherfucker even after it heal. That's what the PT is for. So we need to create a different version of manhood, bro. One where black boy, a young black man, an old black man can say, "Bro, I'm not okay," and it be so normal to support. It be so normal that it's not an odd conversation after that. You feel me? I think we miss the opportunity to redirect before it gets there, because this version of manhood that we practice requires constant output, right? One of the pillars of manhood, American manhood, and this is beyond race. This is anybody that subscribes to the idea. One of the pillars is constant productivity. Constant productivity. You look and see how many old men don't rest. I mean, really, really think about it. Like, really think about how many men don't rest. So when we subscribe to this version of manhood, to where even a dude that's tired, that feels hopeless, that feels like disconnected from community, disconnected from support system, when he feels like he's still just supposed to produce, that whatever that his version of manhood, regardless of his condition, he's still supposed to go to work. That him making it feel and look normal still requires him to pour and burn out. That's what I'm saying. That even when a man is not okay, the thing he does to make it look okay still cost him energy. You realize how dangerous that is? That when a man out of gas, the thing that he do to make everybody think he cool is burn more gas. Then if you a black man, you already gotta pay more on the gallon for the gas. You have to understand how dangerous this is. This is why I'm saying we have to come up with a new version of manhood. I'm not concerned about the trolls that are saying that like I'm just talking. I know precisely what I'm talking about. And so that's what I'm saying. Yeah, my G, that's exactly what I'm saying. When the price of gas is set for white men, the average white man to be able to afford it. If the average white man can no longer afford gas, because that's what's happening. The average white guy is starting to get priced out of the market. That means that the majority of black men have already been passed on, like have already been passed over. So this thing that we're doing, thug it out. Or you just gotta grind it out. You just gotta lock in. You gotta work through it. That it makes no sense. For the fellas, bro. If y'all here, if you one of the fellas who believe that men are rational, even though we have no real proof saying men are more rational than women. Um, if you one of those guys, hear me out, bro. It makes zero sense to attempt to recover from being tired by spending more energy. That is not rational. If you're already burnt out, and you don't even have to be having like suicidal ideation, fam. It doesn't even have to be that far. I'm just trying to level with you as a rational nigga, as a logical nigga. If you already burnt out, if you already tired, it makes zero sense. Let me know if I'm wrong, G. It makes zero sense to attempt to recover by spending more energy. I'm just trying to appeal to your logic, dog. If you genuinely believe that men are supposed to be rational, I'm just trying to appeal to you to the rational part of you. If you are not okay, it does not make sense to attempt to become okay by going harder. My G, I'm just trying to be rational. As simple as possible. I'm just trying to keep it as simple as possible. For the cats that are having thoughts, for the cats that got attempts that they ain't told niggas about, if you already down bad, it makes zero sense trying to recover by pretending you not down bad, bro. It just doesn't make sense. I'm not, this ain't, again, this ain't about how you feel, bro. Remember, we rational. It doesn't make sense. You already down bad. The tire already bursted, bro. You already on the side of the road, my nigga. At this point, it makes zero sense trying to fix the shit by warming the car up and driving through it, nigga. The tire is busted. You gonna bend the rim, you gonna fuck up the axle, like it's gonna get to the point where you can't fix it. Call for help now. You feel me? We gotta stop this shit. Not just like on some like for the culture. No, bro. We not just let go of the cultural part of it. As an actual ideology, we have to stop this shit. Right? This is not cultural like internet. This is cultural like it's ingrained in the fabric of America's ideology. You feel me? This version of manhood that requires you to produce and produce and produce and produce. How insidious is this ideology that a black man produced for centuries and still got called lazy and incompetent? This is what I mean, is this idea was never set up with you in mind. Never set up with your accomplishments, your work, your humanity in mind. And so to continue to subscribe to it, knowing that it's chewing its own creators up, it's asinine. It's asinine. From the very beginning, regardless of how well you succeed inside of it, it's asinine. Understand that this is the same for the black woman attempting to subscribe to some version of purity culture that exists on top of her, right? This is a black woman attempting to be pure with an idea that paints her as hypersexual, as untrustworthy, as a deviant, as a Jezebel. It's the same thing. It's not rational. We have to understand that these are ideas that were carefully created and woven over time, right? Intentionally woven with us, with indigenous folks underneath them, and used to solidify their place in the minds and intentions of poor British settlers, and eventually Italian and Irish and Scottish and German and whoever else they needed to reinforce the idea at the time. I'm going to use this moment to plug a book because if you don't know, then it just sounds like I'm talking, but you should know. It's called White Trash by Nancy Eisenberg. It explains the caste system in America, how it was installed amongst poor British folks, down to giving them fake fancy titles to make them feel important, and how we got to race as we know it. Educate yourself. It is a very factual read. Uh, One I encourage folks to get into. Now, take a couple questions from YouTube. Probably call it a night because we spent a good amount of time on that and it was well worth it. Blessings, good brother. Again, that book is called White Trash by Nancy Eisenberg. Yes, that is a real book. It is a long ass read and it is dense. Do you understand me? Because it is facts on facts on facts. That ain't a let's make white people feel bad book. That's a this is really what the fuck happened book. White Trash by Nancy Eisenberg. Go ahead, do your reading, fam. The first question on the YouTube said, "Cousin Tripp, can you give some advice to the youngest that was wilding in Houston?" All right, this my advice, cause I'm usually I'm pro wilding. I'm not gonna bullshit you. Usually I'm pro wilding, but the thing is, I'm pro wilding within context. You know what I'm saying? I'm pro wilding within context. To me, wilding at the rodeo is showing up absolutely high, smelling like marijuana. Am I gonna smoke in the rodeo? No. But I'm gonna be in there smelling like gas. Like that's me wilding. What I feel like the young folk need to understand is a very simple concept. Is you mind your motherfucking manners when you in somebody else's house. I don't know who not, excuse me, I don't know who not teaching that part of the game. I don't know how we fell that far from grace, but you need to mind your manners when you in somebody else's house. That's I thought that was some black shit. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think that was a suburban thing, a hood thing, a north, south. I didn't think that none of that mattered. I thought just across the board, we knew you was supposed to mind your motherfucking manners when you was in somebody else's house. That you was supposed to do what they was doing. You know what I'm saying? That the way you was supposed to wild out was the way that they wild out, and you sat for a second and observed how they wild out. That way you could do so properly. You motherfuckers went down there ass naked and on bullshit at a family affair. Was all through these people's city and shit like that, showing ass, fighting, and some more shit. If you wanted to get into fights and shit like that, Houston had plenty of that to offer without y'all starting the extra shit. You could have slid to the hood and just got into one of the brawls that these niggas had readily available. They had plenty of fights for you to choose from. You didn't need to start some extra shit. If you wanted to go down there and show ass, shake ass, be half naked and shit like that, Houston is one of the strip club capitals in the country. You feel me? You could have shook ass at amateur night. You could have went to the club and threw all types of ass down there at Houston because it's Houston, Texas. You know what I'm saying? It's all types of Houston. Y'all asked me one of the things about Ghana, and I'm gonna keep it real, bro. One of the things that I saw is that ass was standard issue. Like every woman had ass. I bullshit you not. The short ones, the tall ones, the skinny ones, whether it was a small ass or a fat ass, like every woman had ass. Houston is reminiscent of that. So if you really wanted to go down there and get into some activity, that was the perfect place to do it. Not at the rodeo though. How did you manage to bring ass and body to the one event that these niggas was having at the time where it was inappropriate? Houston had damn near let it happen everywhere else. And y'all managed to land in the one place that these niggas wanted you to wear a real fit and gonna turn y'all nose up at them like they was asking y'all some bullshit. Y'all could have waited to the trail ride. I think that's where y'all not respecting other niggas' houses and not realizing who crib you going over and not doing your Googles and shit like that and realizing the difference is y'all thought the motherfucking trail ride, you feel me? Y'all thought that shit was the rodeo. Y'all thought the motherfucking hold down was a rodeo. You feel me? That's where y'all had them folks fucked up. That's where y'all had them folks fucked up. And now they don't want y'all down there no more. You feel me? All y'all had to do was research where you was going. Y'all could have looked at the rodeo pictures and shit from last year and realized that that's not what the fuck was going on down there. Yeah, y'all could have just did a quick little search of the videos and pictures on their website and realize that's not what the fuck going on. Cause the thing is about people from Texas, which all people who not from there don't understand, is that their country in real life. Yeah. And that their version of country has everything to do with cowboy boots and cowboy hats and wrangling animals and goddamn riding wild beasts and shit like that. That's a part of their country, my nigga. That's not a black thing, a white thing, a Mexican thing. It's a Texas thing, right? And for you to go to Texas, you got to understand that everybody, regardless of age, is getting down with that. So when it come to an event like that, you feel me? Everybody gonna be in that bitch because that's what they do in Texas. You took your ass down there thinking this was fitting to be some grown. Why you thought it was finna be grown and sexy at the motherfucking rodeo? You know what I'm saying? Who knows? But this why they don't like y'all. That's why they don't like y'all. Feel me? That's why motherfuckers don't be wanting people from out of town to come to their shit because y'all don't do y'all homework. Or if you didn't do your homework, you don't be chilling long enough to realize how they do shit in their city. You feel me? This why I be telling y'all I be in the hood all the time when I go places because I need to find out what the fuck going on here and how to do it. That's why. That's fucking why. Because y'all be in other people's city and y'all don't get with the program and think that you could just do whatever and then somebody upside your head and you want to be offended. Y'all went down there, y'all threw yeeks in the wrong spot in Houston, and then y'all gonna get mad at them niggas. Again, I just want to emphasize, do you realize how out of pocket you gotta be to bring ass to the wrong place in Houston? They accept ass as payment as at most major establishments, my nigga. Accept ass. Like you can pay in yeeks in most places in Houston, and y'all somehow manage to bring ass to the wrong establishment and then want to get mad at the good people of Houston, Texas. Y'all have me and them fucked up. Y'all have me and them. Do you know that my sister, my blood sister, once she was a resident in Houston for 10 years, they said she either has to get on a dietary plan or get a BBL. She done been in Houston too long to not have ass. They made my sister get ass. And y'all somehow brought yeeks to the wrong establishment and want to get mad at them. Y'all hunching in cars and shit like that, motherfucking fighting it. That's what I'm saying, bruh. I done been down to Houston. It's plenty of violence. Y'all did not have to start extra shit in them people's city. It be plenty of freak shit going on. Y'all didn't have to bring extra whole activity to them people's city. Anybody that be in Houston know that though. Somehow y'all found out about some shit that's not new, didn't do your homework. Y'all went out there and y'all fucked it up. Now them niggas gonna have a dress code. It's not that nobody was ever yeeks out at the rodeo. It's that it's a certain way to be yeek out at the rodeo. They already have Daisy Dukes, my nigga. They already got the shorties with the shirts, you know what I'm saying, tied up under the yitties. Like it's a way to navigate that. And y'all went overboard. Y'all went overboard in them people's city. Now they gonna be looking at everybody that's not from there woozy as fuck. Do your research. Y'all gotta do your Googles before you pull up somewhere. That's not just for for the young motherfuckers. That's for everybody. Y'all gotta, cause it don't be kids. These kids be broke. These niggas be grown. That's why I'm saying it's really for everybody. It don't be the kids that be pulling up to people's cities wilding and shit like that. These motherfuckers are adults. You grown motherfuckers keep taking spring break and shit like that with the kids. Y'all be out here blending in, and shit like that. You be at the 21 and up spots, wilding and shit. Nah, niggas be grown. I'm not believing it. Actually, I'm knowing that these motherfuckers ain't got go to Houston money and shit like that. Go fuck up the club and all that. No, hell nah. These adults, motherfuckers in that 25 to 40, bullshitting. Motherfuckers be grown as hell. Hella masters and up. Now them people don't want nobody. Look, they in the comments on the ground talking about they at capacity. Now I'ma have to, motherfucker gonna ask me who I know down there. I'ma have to tell them my sister done been down there for over a decade and shit. Explain what neighborhood she in and who used to live there before all of the South Asians start moving over there and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all fucking it up. I was Houston adjacent before y'all start going down there doing that bullshit. Now they gonna ask me for my pass. Next time some trendy shit happen, you know what I'm saying? Next time some trendy shit happen, do your research before y'all pull up. That's for everybody. Do your do your research before y'all pull up. You feel me? That's what I'm saying. Don't just goddamn it. Um, don't just motherfucking roll up to somebody's city, somebody's state, feeling like you just get to bring your whole program with you. That don't work like that. Assume that in some level shit is like it is in LA and that you just can't wear whatever and say whatever in certain neighborhoods and places. You know what I'm saying? In this particular place, it may not be about red or blue and shit like that. It may be about the direction you wear your hat. You feel me? It may be about staying off a certain street at a certain time. You feel me? Just make sure you properly clocked in wherever the fuck you at. Cause them folks be upside y'all head and then y'all get mad at them and shit like that. And y'all like, oh, bro, the people in Houston rude as fuck. No, you're rude as fuck because you done walked in somebody's house and you didn't speak to everybody and find out the lay of the land before you started to move around and they checked you for it. Them folk in Houston, based on how I seen y'all acting on the internet, got every right to tell y'all to get the fuck from out their city and not to come back. If they was upside your head, boot and belt to ass, that's exactly what the fuck y'all get. I believe everybody in their city should be on that same type time. If cause most places you go, if you come through and you chilling, the locals will leave you alone. Even if you ain't with the same rah they on, if you ain't, operating at the same tempo, if you at least come in, you chilling, you shut the fuck up, you stay out the way, them niggas will let you be. They'll let you be. Y'all down there popping it. Y'all down there popping it unnecessarily. In a place that's already cool with popping it. That's what I'm saying. You have to be so out of pocket to be extra in Houston. You have to be so out of pocket to be extra in Houston, bruh. That's crazy. Like I don't know if any of y'all have partied in Houston. I don't know if any of y'all have taken like moneyed up trips to Houston and shit like that. You have to be so out of pocket to do too much in Houston, bro. You gotta understand, Houston is one of them places that like there are a good amount of non-famous rich black people. I'll explain what I mean by that in a second. There are a good amount of non-famous rich black people who get it legally. Like regular, you don't know him from the next nigga. He's doing it via his regular job, rich black people. So sections full of ass, liquor, and drugs, luxury vehicles swinging back and forth. All of this is like shit. Uh, there are mad regular black women who are rich in Houston. They own money. Like they're just high six-figure earners. Like it's just happening down there like that. It's so hard to do too much down there because there are people who can afford to do too much every weekend. Culturally, there are people, regular people, who can afford to do nigga shit every weekend after taxes. You know what I'm saying? Like who can every weekend off they job sections in the club. Every weekend off they job fuck it up in the mall one good time. Every weekend off the job another car. And because of that, it's difficult as an out of towner for you to come there and do too much. That's what I'm saying. You have to have been on bullshit to go to a place like that and them say, y'all wildin', y'all doing too much. You have to be on bullshit to go to a place where a fair amount of people, where it's normal culture for non-famous people to afford to turn it up and then be like, nah, y'all niggas is tripping. I don't know what the fuck that was, bro. Y'all got us fucked up. Nah, we do bottles and shit like that. I don't know what that was though. It's hoes in my section. It's bitches and it's ladies over here. It's cougars over here. Every variety of woman that you can think of is in this section right here. I don't know what y'all doing over there. Yeah, it's actual. We have actual prostitutes and strippers in this section as well. So I'm not really sure what y'all got going on, but it's we not fucking with it. And I'm saying that if you go to a section in Houston, every variety that I just named, it's in there. Like some of y'all might be offended and shit like that, but that's because you don't be in Houston like that. They all in that section together, moneyed up. So if you doing too much for them, you are on bullshit. That's my advice for y'all niggas going to Houston and shit like that, going to anybody's city. See, I see we got some Houston money having people in here. And I'm glad they in here validating what I'm saying. Cause again, my sister is a resident. I've seen how these niggas get down. I've gone to mansion parties down there. I've seen how these niggas get down. When I went to a mansion party down there, this was not a famous person's mansion. These were not other famous people at the party. That's not what was happening. There was nobody famous. It was just a private we niggas with money party. I had to get my shit together because I was one of the only niggas in there that didn't have none. You know what I'm saying? The homie said he had me, and they was so moneyed up that he had me like he had him. I don't even know if I was old enough to drink yet. I had just turned 21. Matter of fact, I'm young and broke. I had never seen niggas having it like that. The fact that you did too, that shit blows my mind. The way I seen niggas have it in Houston, for y'all to have did too much for them. I did. You talking about niggas who will rent the other version of a Bentley that they own just for the weekend, just to drive that one. Not because they don't own a Bentley and want to stunt like that. They just want to drive that one for the weekend. I seen it. How you do too much for that? How you do too much for that? You talking about a place where niggas buy sections at the door so they don't have to wait in line. How y'all do too much for them? Shout out to Houston, man. Shout out to Houston, bro. I'm gonna take one more off the YouTube, bro. Get up out of here. I don't know how y'all did that. Exactly. You said basically out of town niggas can't out nig local niggas. They nig at such a high level locally. You know what I'm saying? You might go somewhere like, I don't know, Pittsburgh and flex on them. It ain't to say that they black people not doing well, but you as a nigga could go somewhere like Pittsburgh and flex on them and not be doing nothing crazy. You could go somewhere like Seattle and flex on them. You not pulling up on niggas in Houston and flexing on them. Flexing is a part of that culture. You're not pulling up on niggas in Detroit and flexing on them folks. Furs and buffs are part of their culture. What are you talking about? You not pulling up on niggas in LA and flexing on them. Niggas in Oakland and flexing on them. You're not pulling up on niggas in Miami and flexing on them folks. You better figure out what the fuck going on, get the program. You know what I'm saying? You ain't finna do that in none of them cities like that. You can't out niggas in a place where the flex is built into the culture. It don't work. That's when people end up upside y'all head and shit, and y'all be mad. Y'all be mad than the motherfucker. You be trying to pull up. You not out nigging niggas in New York, any borough. You not out nigging niggas in Chicago. You not out nigging niggas in Cleveland, Dayton, Cincinnati. You can flex. I mean, yeah, but the flex is there. Feel me? It just don't work like that. Gotta mind you. You gotta mind yours. Got to mind yours. What y'all got going on? All right, it looked like we got not gonna get any more questions there. So I can't believe y'all voted that up. Y'all gotta get the fuck on. Y'all gotta get the fuck on. All right. It is Thursday and it is the night for the freaks and the geeks. And so to this freak shit. It's because we ain't had none of this in a while. Since we missed the night for the freaks and the geeks, reverse cowgirl, bounce or slow grind. Excuse me. I need the yeeks to be bouncing. Hey, more bounce to the ounce. You know what I'm saying? Bounce that ass. In all ways. Big bounces, little bounces, double bounces. You know what I'm saying? Bounce the biggity bounce the biggity bounce the biggity bounce it. Bounce the biggity bounce the biggity bounce the biggity bounce it. Like I mean, bounce that ass. Get up there. You feel me? Properly position yourself and bounce. Take me up out of here. You know what I'm saying? Get me all the way out of here. If he dies, he dies. Take me out. You know what I'm saying? Hey, look, all that shit I was talking, all that shit you was talking, yeah, I got pay. We got to pay for that right now. Stand on it. With all that you was saying, yeah, do that. Bounce. The slow grind, cool. I ain't hating on the slow grind, you feel me? But nah, get up there and do what we yeah, do what we both need. You know what I'm saying? Let me see what leg they did for you. You feel me? You been posting the gym pics, you been posting the progress pics, you been saying you was gonna fuck them up for the summer. Fuck me up. You know what I'm saying? Is that beach muscle or is that, you know what I'm saying? Can you put that to use? Pilates is great, but what has it done for your core? You know what I'm saying? Let's see what that's about. Bounce. I need to see it. You feel me? Own that. Get up there and go ahead, do what need to be done. Don't worry, I got you. I'm supporting the whole way. You need me to lift something, hold something, stabilize something. Go on, get up there. Bounce. All right, good folks. We've had a great one. I am your cousin Tripp Fontaine. This has been another Trip After Dark Live. First one back from the motherland, man. I'm officially clocked back in, and it's time to get back to work. I will see y'all Tuesday for Talk to Me Tuesday, our live Q&A. We about this thing.